Hello. So today I'll be setting up a puzzle called Wallace by Stephan Baumegger. This puzzle is available on Puzzle Will Be Played, or at least the information about the puzzle that I have here is on Puzzle Will Be Played. And I'll be setting it up in BurrTools, show you how we can set it up in BurrTools to find the solution. We'll also explore the puzzle a little bit afterwards. So this video should have a lot of spoilers. So if you have the puzzle, you should probably try to figure it out yourself. If you don't have the puzzle, well, maybe if you want it, you should get the puzzle, figure it out, and then watch this. Or if you never plan to have this puzzle, this should still be fun to explore a very nice puzzle. So let's take a look here. So this puzzle, Wallace, is not quite the normal six-piece burr. We'll see that there are still three axes, but each pairing is a little bit skewed, and that is the case on all three axes. Also, um, it's a 9 by 9 by 9 voxels across units, and it's kind of curious. It kind of could be an 8 by 8 by 8, but this one is a little bit interesting in that there's a little bit extra wood at the top, making it 2 units tall out of this side, but only 1 unit out the bottom. Likewise, 2 units out the left, but only 1 unit out the right. And I suppose 1 unit out the front here and 2 units out the back. So it's kind of skewed and off center and just a lot of fun. Let's figure out why. So the first thing I'd like to do is set up the pieces. Sometimes I start with the solution, but this time we'll do the pieces first. Get that out of the way. When I click on new, I can give it a label, call it A, and we'll set this up as a 9 by 3 by 3. Now we have something to work with here. So I have 3 layers, bottom, middle, top. I'll set up the bottom here, just like we see it here. I can just kind of draw them in. There's a lot of different ways to draw, but this is how I would do it. Something like that, and then that. There's a lot of room for error here, so I'll try to be careful. Second layer looks a little like that, 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 that. Third layer, that, that, and that. So that looks a lot like our first piece. Just following the instructions. Let's go on to B. New B. Okay, and continuing with B, we have something like that, and that, that. So there are features in BurrTools I'm not using today. I'm not using any colors. I don't think I will need to. Colors could be useful aesthetically or to help define constraints on the puzzle, but I don't need that today. That six across. It's only 5 across. What have I done wrong? It's 5 across. Okay, good. Lots of room for error, but so far things are okay. I'm on the top layer and I'm confused. There we go. All right, so that's B. Looks just like B. It's perfect. C. Click new, click label, C. Set it up. So if you're watching my left side of the screen, you'll see how first we have the first layer defined, then the second layer defined, and then the third layer defined, just like I have it here. Second layer, C's, C's, and third layer, C's, 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 new D. First layer, second layer, third layer. Looks like that. Yeah, that looks like that. Let's do E4. So the puzzle has some kind of unique surprises. You'll notice when looking at the pictures on the left, uh, it tends to be one side is kind of chunky and the other side is not. Like, this one we have basically two 3x3 layers, 1 and 2, giving it like I guess 18 units all clumped together, but on this side there's a gap here. Most of the pieces are like that. There's one piece that's an exception. Let's look at B. We have a chunky unit on the left, and it's kind of just as chunky on the right. So that's interesting. I don't know if that helps anything. But, there it is. E, E. We'll move on to F. First layer. F. That looks like F. That's it, just 6 pieces. So I don't know a lot about bird puzzles, but I do know that the ones I see are usually on this profile 2 units by 2 units. This one being a 3 unit, it's different. It's different. And as we explore here, I'll show you some of the things that will contribute to that difference. Great. So I have my pieces defined. I'm going to set up a shape that looks like a solution. Let's try that. I'll call it solution. So this puzzle is defined as a 9 by 9 by 9. So I'll set up my dimensions here. And one thing I can do is just paint the whole thing as variable and see where that gets me. I'm going to click on toggle in all Z layers. I'm going to toggle to variable pixels. Just cover the whole thing. So this is kind of an exploration in this puzzle, but also an exploration in BurrTools, just to see what happens when I do this. The variable pixels, voxels means that uh, I'm just telling it that I don't know the final layout, but I know that they kind of fit something like this. Looking at the picture, I could very specifically draw this puzzle as the solution and come up with the answer a lot faster. Having it variable will find all solutions, including the one solution I'm looking for, and it will take a lot longer. I'll show you what I mean by that. To set up the puzzle to be solved, I click on the puzzle tab, make a new problem. I say that the answer to the problem is this solution. Click on this and set result. When I click all plus one, it will add A through F. I know that they're part of this, so A through F. I click on solver. It's always a good idea to prepare. And we can start. So I'm actually going to crank this up to maybe 1,000,000. I don't. I'll also check disassemble. This is only going to show me solutions that can be pulled apart, disassembled. So that's important. I'll prepare it again. It's a good idea to prepare. Now, when I click start, it's probably going to run basically forever because, oh, that's interesting. It's going to show me many silly solutions that satisfy my setup, but do not really solve it as a puzzle. You wouldn't say that this is the solution to a puzzle unless you're a computer and you say this is a solution because you're a computer and it's as smart as you get. So I'm also going to change this. I probably should have changed this before I clicked on start, but I can change this to level. That's going to help me push all of the simple, nonsensical solutions to the left on this slider and all the good stuff to the right. So I'm just going to grab it, and we can see that in a very dumb way, it's trying all combinations, even some of that. Oh, did you see that? It's crazy. So the way I have it defined, it even thinks that that's the solution. It's clearly not. And if I drag it to the far, far right, that's not very good. So I'm going to stop this, and I'm going to redefine this solution to be a little bit more like what I'm used to. So just looking at the picture, I know that the puzzle is contained somewhere in here, and some of these posts come all the way to the edges. But if I look at the far, far right or the far, far left, I can see that we will never have it in the corner. So I'm going to turn off my Z-axis and go to the bottom layer, get rid of that, that, that. Top layer, same thing. That, that, that. And yeah, I'll turn on my Z. I'm going to get rid of these. You know what? I'll do a keyboard shortcut. Control click will get rid of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Over here too. 1, 2, 3. Whoops, too many. Shift click. Nope, no. Alt click. We'll put in that variable voxel. Control click, 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 click. Over here too. All right. Lots of ways to draw in BurrTools. That works. So this, without doing a lot of work on my part, this gets us a little closer, right? I can also get rid of some of these corner pieces. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Whoop. Alt. Got rid of too much. Control. 1, 2, 3. Let's do the other side as well. Whoop. Yeah, that's good enough. So I wouldn't say that the overall puzzle is a ball shape, but kind of. All right, let's see what this does for us. I'll go back over to solver, try and solve the same puzzle again, disassemble, prepare, and start. So we will get fewer silly solutions. Oh, but we will still get some silly solutions. I mean, this one's nice. It's not the solution we're looking for. But it solves so much faster. I have a feeling I should be able to drag it to the right. And there we go. That is our puzzle. Just like the website says, we have about 17 moves for the first piece, and everything else comes out real nice. So, you know, this will be a little spoily, so just a warning. But we can kind of see the overall shape of this. Like I said, one side of the piece tends to be kind of chunky, and that we can see that over here. We can see that down here, and we can see that down here too. With one exception, piece B was a little bit chunky at both ends for whatever reason. All right, so let's see what the computer says the solution looks like. And we'll kind of explore it deeper too. So when I was working this, I held it like this. I don't know what way is the top, the bottom. Maybe it doesn't matter, but I consider this to be the top. So when this one comes down, this one comes out, tucks in, and everything kind of goes back. So that whole move was just to get this purple piece tucked into the blue in a way that gets it out of the way. So that also lets this light blue piece move in. And so this part's kind of fun. The red piece here is locked in place from going up and down, back and forth, until that green one comes out of the way. You'll see that the green one starts there, but comes out of the way just enough for that red one to move right in. Now the puzzle kind of spreads apart. We'll see that spread here. Once again, this was the first piece that moved. That will come down again. This comes out again, just like it did from the start. We tucked this purple piece away. Now let's see what we do with it. Looks like we get it back again. Comes up. So this part stumped me for a while. I thought that this puzzle, one piece would come out and the whole thing would come apart. So, and I had a feeling it might have been that purple piece. But it comes up, comes out, and I figured I must have been maybe on the right track because this blue piece has a mysterious notch down here. I can see that that purple piece just fits in there right there. So I figured, yeah, it's got to go there. Has to. But it stumped me for a while. But I found out that once this red one comes in and the blue one comes in, this whole thing kind of comes out as one. Ooh. So first, it's 2 or 3 pieces that come out at once, not just a single. All right, and the puzzle's back together. I guess I can show the rest of it coming apart too. Once these come out, great. We're back to the main chunk. Purple one comes out, no problem. These 3 are locked in a fun way. It's kind of fun. The blue one at the bottom has just that single hole that lines up with that yellow one. You can see that sometimes if it's right there, that blue one can drop down onto that yellow post. Otherwise, it just kind of slides around a little bit. Then these yellow and green, they lock together pretty tight. Takes some effort to get those apart, which was satisfying. So I solved this puzzle by putting it together rather than taking it apart. And you can use BurrTools to do that too. You can start from the end to see what goes together first. You can use BurrTools to fully find a solution. You can use BurrTools to get you started. If you're trying to put something together and you just want to know where to start, it'll show you which 2 pieces to start with and just make that work for you. Or if you're taking apart, you can figure out what the first piece to come out is, like that. And that can be a hint without spoiling all the fun. Just keep those 2 together the whole time, and you're good to go. These 2 pieces interact in kind of a fun way. The red one has a little post that falls into this groove, and for the most part, it holds it in there real tight. Most of the time when you're solving this puzzle, this red one will be stuck in the light green, and the red will be constrained by a couple other pieces usually. Like this, it won't be able to rise any higher because the green locks it in. And it usually can't come to the left because this purple one would block it unless the purple one's in its normal place, and then it can sneak right in there. And it's quite locked. So when trying to figure this out, you'll have to figure out how can you separate the red from the light blue. But eventually you'll find out you never separate the red from the light blue until the puzzle's already pulled apart. Exciting. That's Wallace. If you're trying to solve this, put it together just by hand, there are some clues that will help you get started here. Let's look at this light blue piece here. We can see that any one of these pieces has 2 caps that will overlap onto it. And in every single case, it will be 1 unit of overlap for one of the caps, and then 2 units of overlap for the other cap. And that's the case for every single piece because we're dealing with 3s here. So this one overlaps by 2, this one just overlaps by 1. If I look at the yellow piece, overlaps 2 units with green, 1 unit with purple. And that can be a good clue to get you started. The other thing is, what did I find useful? If you're looking at the different faces and you're assuming that something will overlap by 2 and something else will overlap by 1, you can figure out from which side is the edge, the outside edge, and which sides are the inside edges. I know that in my mind, if I were to try to overlap this with 2, I would say that maybe it would overlap this gap here so that there's no holes. But then I would find it impossible to overlap something from the other side with 1 to fill this hole because it would have to overlap by 2. So I know that this face here is not an outside face. But if I look at this, I can be pretty confident that this is an outside face. If I were to use the reasoning that one thing overlaps by 1 unit, or one cap overlaps by 1 unit and the other cap overlaps by 2, I could say that to cover these 3 holes, I would need something to overlap this side. Ooh, and it could only overlap by 1 because it would have left this hole abandoned if it tried to overlap by 2. So overlap by 1 here, overlap by 2 here. And with that reasoning, you can find pairs that work together, find pairs that don't. I think I was able to narrow down. I grabbed a piece, found that only 2 pieces could really achieve that overlap I was looking for. And I trialed and errored both and found that I found it. I found the right solution. Another interesting thing I found about these pieces, once you find the outside faces, you usually find that since it's like a notchable burr, you find that the spine of the burr is kind of on the outside face. In this case, it would be the outside face, but there's one piece where the spine of the burr is on the inside. I think that's this one. So this is the outside face, but the spine is on the inside. So it's just kind of fun, kind of curious. It's a different shape. So as I was working on this puzzle, I found that, or as I was trying it in BurrTools, I found that surely there must be a reason why we have a chunky bit and a non-chunky bit in this solution. Why does it overlap by 2 on this side and by 1 on this side? And I think what I found is by overlapping 2 on one side, it kind of makes it a little bit easier, kind of makes it a little bit, if you're trying to match 2 pieces together, it lowers the amount of possibilities. Fewer possibilities make it a little bit easier to figure out. I was curious, is that all it is? So what I did here, I made a new version of this. Each piece, copy, label, label a cut. Each piece, I'm just going to cut off that extra bit and see what happens. That's this. I'll draw it in all Z's, cut that out. I'll do that for each piece. B, copy, label, B. All right, so A, I cut that off. B, oh yeah, B is a little bit different. I think I looked at this and decided, well, I forgot what I decided, but I need to cut off one end but not the other. Let's figure that out later. C, cut off this end. D, cut off this end. E, cut off this end. F, cut off this end. To figure out B, I'm going to go back to my solution. Maybe get rid of some of these. B is green. So, yeah. cut off that end. This end. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's fine. So I've cut off all of those. Now I'll make a new solution, but I'll make it an 8 by 8 by 8. New 8 by 8 by 8. Oops. And I'll basically do the same thing I did before. Draw the whole thing. But take off layers, top, bottom, sides. Okay. Up, up, up. Also, just round this out a little bit more too with the control click. The other side. All right. Cool. Put that back in. And then with my tools, I will make the whole thing, clicking both of these will make the whole thing variable. Easy. All right, I'll make a new problem. Oh, well. I will make this one, oop, I didn't label that very well, set the result, add my A through B, C. Go to solver, pick that puzzle, disassemble is fine, prepare, start. So I found my solution pretty quick here. That's interesting. Oh, that's kind of, are these just rotations of each other? Is that what's happening? Yeah, I think so. So showing 18, what if I like, rotation check? Oh, curious. Oh, that's curious. I guess it says I have 18 solutions, and either there are 18 solutions or it's just different rotations of the same solution. It's really weird. All right, but anyway, they all solve exactly the same way as when it was a 9 by 9. So it's curious, does that extra bump actually change anything, or does it just make it more fun? It was pretty fun. I like this puzzle. All right, so I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you're enjoying BurrTools, and I hope you're enjoying these puzzles. Have a great day. Thanks. Bye.